Yeah, Parkinson's UK. I've already done one of these trips for Samaritans. We've got a mutual friend who suffers from Parkinson's, and it's also very much on the map now, isn't it? I know a lot of people who've got it, and it's something like Alzheimer's.
Nutmeg. How did you find Nutmeg?
Nutmeg is a Romanian rescue, and I found her online. She's an internet date because she's very beautiful. And she was a puppy. She was a 5-month-old puppy. I thought, oh, she's going to be a bit traumatised, but it'll be fine because she's so young, and she'll come over here and I'll save her and she'll love me, and then I'll protect her from the rest of the world. And she came over here and she was bloody terrified. She was terrified of me. She'd never lived in a house before. She was terrified of being in a house. It was dreadful. She was first of all, she was in a cage. That wasn't any good. That's where I made a mistake. She needed her own safe space to find it herself, so she found under the bed in the end.
Right.
So she was completely nocturnal. She'd come out in the middle of the night and she'd go throughout. She'd explore the house and she would shit all over the house. And then she'd go back under the bed. And then she started to come up on the bed and then she'd lick my toes or something like that. And then I've got a hilarious picture about a month in when I woke up and I took a picture of myself lying in bed because she'd appeared. She was very curious. She'd appeared next to me. I wouldn't let me touch her, but she was in the photograph next to me on the pillow. So anyway, yeah, long and short of it is that once she could go out, that was great because she'd been used to being out.
Yeah.
So
She was a street dog, wasn't she?
she was a street dog, and then she'd been rescued at a huge rescue with thousands of dogs. So she'd basically not been in a house before, and she'd come over in this horrendous 27-hour journey in a cage from Romania.
Wow.
Which must have been very frightening.
Yeah,
So
trauma.
that's the trauma. I mean, I don't know. I think the rescue said she was found in a pack on the street with older dogs when she was 6 weeks old, which would suggest she wasn't weaned properly. But I'm a little bit sceptical now because I do hear that the rescues talk it up a bit. I'm not suggesting, I know some of them breed the dogs. I don't think they bred the dog.
Right.
But it may not have been so awful as they made me believe. But anyway, one way or another, I remember standing leaving the back door open and standing with my coffee at about 7:30 in the morning opposite the back door, and she ventured out. And that was just such a breakthrough. And after that, I got the lead on her in about 2 weeks. Went for a walk with her.
Right.
And now, she's still weird.
She's still a little bit shy, but she's much less shy than she was, isn't she?
But I mean, it's weird, isn't it? Like, you came in, she knows you from band practice.
Yeah.
She's seen you a million times. She wouldn't say hello outside, would she?
No, she didn't.
You sit down in the kitchen, and in the strategic place where she can get away if necessary, and she can ask for food. She came and asked for food straight away. She let you stroke her. So she's still a bit like that. But buses, and people think, well, this nervous dog, how can you take it on a bus? She's amazing on a bus. She knows what the routine is.
Yeah.
I get on, I find a place to sit, preferably where the buggies are meant to be. I then stretch out across the entire gangway so that nobody can get through.
Yeah.
And I sit there until it stops and then I get off. No problem.
So last year, who did you raise money for last year?
Samaritans last year.
Was it? And you went from Land's End
Land's End to Broadstairs. That was amazing.
on a bus for every journey.
The thing is, I support a few charities, and every year they come at me with, join this hike, climb a mountain for us, do a run. Well, I never could run. I could hike in the old days, and I certainly couldn't climb mountains now. Right. So it's sort of frustrating because, come and do something big to raise money. And I'm thinking, well, I can't do any of that. But I think it was when I got my bus ticket, my senior bus pass, I thought, where will this take me? Let's go beyond for Kent. And I put the two together, really.
Right. So you
So Land's End, I did Land's End to Broadstairs because that's across the bottom. I didn't want to do Land's End to John O'Groats. So then I did that. It was tremendous fun. I didn't expect it to be fun. I thought it was just a mission. I was determined to do it, but I thought it'd be hell, and I'd be so pleased when it was over.
Did you travel down the train initially then to go there? Or?
Yeah, I had to do it that way because the Land's End bus only carries on until the 1st of October or something.
Right, okay.
Because it's a sort of open top tourist bus basically, and it does that Land's End Peninsula. That was a fun day, I have to say.
It must have taken loads of planning though
Planning's what I like.
Working out all the routes.
Oh God. And then the bus timetables change, and it starts again.
So then you're booking yourself into hotels and guest
Yeah.
houses and all sorts all the way.
This time I'm doing it, and this was what the Parkinson's guys. I'm doing it for Parkinson's this year, and they've been amazing.
Okay, Michela. So you're doing this for Parkinson's disease, raising money for Parkinson's disease.
Yeah, Parkinson's UK. I've already done one of these trips for Samaritans. We've got a mutual friend who suffers from Parkinson's, and it's also very much on the map now, isn't it? I know a lot of people who've got it, and it's something like Alzheimer's that we're desperate for a cure for. More and more people, and one hears about who have it.
Yes.
So I think it's a very worthwhile cause, and I've checked their site, and they're not just. They're a research organisation.
Yes.
They're doing a lot of research, which is great. So let's hope they do find a cure.
So it's kind of a bit close to both our hearts because.
Because of our friend.
Because of our friend, what a close friend she is. What a good friend she is.
Another thing is that there's a sort of connection. There's a guy who used to work for the BBC called Rory Kettle-Jones who has written a book about his Romanian dog called Sophie, his Romanian rescue dog, and he's got Parkinson's.
I remember seeing that on the TV, the Rory Kettle-Jones article about that. It was last year, I think, sometime it was on, wasn't it?
So there's a bit of a parallel there as well.
Yeah.
Very full of ideas. And one of them was, approach, because I said, how can I increase my reach? Because friends have been amazing, and people like dog walkers who see a sign up. But I was saying to them, I want to extend my reach beyond that. And so he suggested approaching Travelodge. So I've booked into Travelodge 5 times.
Right.
And then I'm trying to touch them for a donation. And the same thing with Stagecoach, because actually Parkinson's UK's uniform is the same colour as Stagecoach buses.
Right.
So I took a picture of me and her out in front of a Stagecoach bus, and I've sent it to them saying, how about a donation? I love your buses so much.
It's great. So it was when you did the one last year. Did you find, was there any moments when you thought, oh crikey, it's all going to go wrong?
Yeah. I seem to remember being stuck in Chard in Somerset and very nervous. When I book, I like to know that there's another bus in case I miss that one. And that was one of those where I wasn't even sure if it was going to turn up, and that was the last one. That's always scary.
But you found that people were approaching you and coming up and talking to you, and
Yeah, very much so.
yeah.
And Nutmeg was wearing a Samaritan's scarf, because they gave me a dog scarf, but I've enlarged it so that it had information on it, and people would come up and see that. This time I've done the same thing with Parkinson's, but I'm also wearing a Parkinson's t-shirt. I'll be wearing more Parkinson's stuff. Because they'd come up and stroke her and they'd say, oh, what are you doing? And it was all there in front, but then they wouldn't read it.
Yeah. So you made it much more visual.
I've made it much more visual this time, because otherwise, and I had little leaflets too, little flyers that I was giving out. But I didn't want to be too, it's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? You know, you're in a pub and you start dropping flyers and people give you a look.
I think sometimes if you carry them with you, because if people come up to you and say, oh, what's this all about? And then you could then...
Yeah. I got some that way. I did get some that way. But I don't like to be too chugging about it, I don't want to stop everybody with it.
Yeah. Just do it. It's about the actual journey, isn't it? And about enjoying the...
Yeah, I didn't think it was about enjoying last year. As I say, I didn't expect to enjoy it. I did enjoy it, but I didn't expect it. I mean, it's an adrenaline rush.
Yeah. Yeah, go different. I mean, I couldn't imagine doing that for me, because you know what I'm like. I get nervous if I cross the road.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I mean, these sites of where I couldn't do it without the internet on my phone. It wouldn't have been possible at all. You know, I print out a list, but I don't really look at it because mostly it's on the phone, and it's very good. These sites like Travelline, they'll tell you now you've got to walk from there to there, and I think, how am I supposed to know where that is? Well, there's a little map. It opens out a little map that tells you exactly, and then there's Google Maps. You know, you can do that.
You can virtually sat nav your way.
And when I'm on the bus, to make sure I get off at the right stop, I tend to have Google Maps on.
Yeah.
Which is amazing, isn't it? So, because in the old days, I mean, can you imagine reading, get off at blah.
Yeah.
Or how am I to know where that is?
Yeah. You'd be asking people where it was, and
probably missing the bus.
Getting off at the wrong place, getting the wrong bus.
Oh, there was one really dodgy moment where I had to get on a bus, and it was the first bus of the day, and I was the wrong side of the road.
So did you get on the wrong bus, or did you? Or
no, I realised I was the wrong side of the road, and I had to go back into the town, spend an hour, and then go back. So I was late, but
right, okay, so you did it.
That was a bummer. So there was a lot of quick looking up for the next buses all the way down.
I remember saying to you the other day, it's a bit like thinking of Nutmeg. She's like a canine version of Michael Palin, isn't she?
Yes, she is, isn't she? Yeah, she is. But I mean, it's just weird, the contrast between, like, well, you know, we have band practice. She knows all of you.
Yes.
She'll accept a biscuit off most of you. Well, I think all of you, actually. But that's individually. But when we start to meet in the kitchen, you won't get her down here.
Yeah, she's not interested.
She can't cope with lots of people.
Unless she wants to go out. Because then she comes down and talks to you, doesn't she?
She comes and barks at me. But then she won't approach any of you. And yet she knows you all.
Yeah.
Particularly Bernie. She loves Bernie. But if he's sitting at the table, she won't come up to him.
Yeah.
But on buses, she's really comfortable. She always looks... I will say, if anybody looks at the website, I mean the Just Giving page or my blog on Facebook, she always looks uncomfortable. She doesn't photograph well. You know, I start taking a picture and then she'll instantly turn her head or just look like she's hating it. But honestly, she's not.
Bless her. So that was so you've got a Just Giving page.
I have.
Okay.
Called Nutmeg Express.
Okay, that's cool. So we need to know that. So if anybody's interested in raising some money for Parkinson's with Michela and Nutmeg, then go to that page, listeners, and have a look, because it's a fine course. And I think it's quite I don't know whether anybody's done these sort of things before with taking the dog with them to go on a bus to go miles and miles and miles. But first time I heard of it, I think it's a fantastic concept to do.
It's kind of lazy when you compare it to running. You're sitting a lot. Mind you, I walk more than I do in the week normally. I walk her first of all. I have to get her walked to do business before we even get on the bus, because can you imagine being stuck on a bus with a dog that wants to do business?
Oh, yeah. How long are each of the journeys? Is it, you know, when you're going from one bus to another, what's the longest?
Longest would be about a couple of hours. Shortest would be about 10 minutes.
She's obviously really happy doing it. And I noticed last year when she came back how much more confident she was.
Yeah.
She
has gained in confidence. It's really good. It's surprising to me that she can cope with a bus, because one of the things she's frightened of is people moving around. I can see that if you're a dog and you've got humans with long legs moving their legs around you, particularly if you've been kicked as a puppy, which she may have been. And she hates any situation like that, so take her into a train station and she's absolutely terrified. But you'd think a bus, she's fine. It's strange.
Isn't that amazing? Mm. And she's happy for people to pet her and talk to her and stroke.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, on the bus, yes, absolutely. Because everybody says, what a beautiful dog. And then I have to go through the whole story of her being a Romanian rescue.
Yeah.
And then most people know another dog, which is a Romanian rescue, so...
Right, okay. So
and then I sort of gently introduce them. We're doing this for charity.
Maybe she could pick up on the atmosphere of people going, wanting to give her attention and being non-threatening.
Maybe.
And she's with you, Because I had, when you said we were doing it last year, I had thought, oh crikey, you're gonna have a lot of trouble doing it. You're gonna have difficulty getting her on the buses, but then you said she'd already liked going on the bus.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have done it and her not being on a bus. The thing is, I've got a senior bus pass. I'll admit that. I've also got a granddaughter who's now 2.5. I've had her a day a week for quite a long time, more or less. Been in charge for a day a week. And my car doesn't take a baby seat because it's been made into a camper van, so all the Isofix fittings have been covered over by flooring. So I've been using the bus pass, why not? So we've been going out, and Callie loves it. And then we've been taking the dog as well. And so I'd been using the bus quite a lot and noticed that Nutmeg was all right. Because you'd think, dog and pram be too much to handle on a bus, but it isn't at all, because she's no problem. She's been no problem, which is great. The only time, I will say actually, the last time, I just thought I want to go home now. Let's get home now. So it was Guildford to Broadstairs, which is actually, it isn't a long way driving, but it was 1 million buses. It was probably about 9 or 10 buses that day. It was certainly 9 hours.
Gosh.
By the end, she got really fed up. She did agree to eat at the bus station. I think that got her nervous because she's very funny about eating. She doesn't eat when people are looking, but she had to eat at the bus station because, despite people looking. And then we got on the last bus and she really didn't want to get on it. That was Canterbury to Broadstairs. Didn't want to get on it. We got there and my partner met me, which is great, in Broadstairs. And we were sitting outside the pizza place because he'd ordered a pizza that we were going to take home. Mm-hmm. And so we're sitting by the bus stop, which is outside the pizza place. And along came a bus and she got in the queue. So she'd recovered then. Oh, hit bus, right, this is what we do.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
She likes to know what's happening. I think it's a bit like children with autism. If it's a routine, she can follow it.
So, remind me, what day is it that you're starting this?
The day after Easter Monday. So Tuesday, the 22nd of April.
Okay, and you're going to, where are you setting off from? From the
Broadstairs, because it's not the furthest east point. I thought it was. It's not actually.
Right.
But we'll pretend it is.
Yeah.
It's the furthest east that I want to go to.
So are you doing the bus journey as from Broadstairs to up to Scotland, or are you doing it the other way round?
Oh no, I'm doing it leaving from Broadstairs going up to Scotland. Unfortunately, in Scotland itself, you can't use your bus pass. And I think to get between the Scottish towns, which are much more spaced out, it's mostly coaches. And I'm not even sure they'd allow Nutmeg on them. Coaches are they've got different rules. So I'm going to the Borders. So it's a nice bit of alliteration. So Broadstairs to the Borders. So we're going up to just north of Berwick-on-Tweed, Berwick-on-Tweed, and there's an actual border there where you can sort of walk to it and it'll have a Scottish flag and thing. I was just thinking of photo opportunities.
Absolutely.
That's a farm, so that'd be nice. Then stay in Berwick-on-Tweed, and the next day I'm going to go, there's a couple of buses that go sort of along the borders, and so in and out of Scotland. So it goes to Galashiels in Scotland, so that'd be nice. I might have to pay. And then come back to Carlisle.
Right.
So that's one day. And at Carlisle, they're hoping the Parkinson's guy is hoping to get some sort of welcoming committee.
Oh, that's
so a few balloons and things. That will be fun. And then I'm amusing myself in the Lake District for a couple of days after that.
Right. So did you last time did you journal on the way down, or you intended to journal or thought about it?
No, what I do is I put something on Facebook every day.
Yeah. So that's effectively like journaling, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's shared, isn't it?
You're doing an update.
Which people liked, actually.
Yes.
I quite like doing it because there's some very funny things happen. I mean, the best thing, people say it's boring. Well, not boring at all, because I like watching the landscape anyway, but also the people on the bus. Sometimes you get really amazing people. There was one, I think he must have had ADHD, when you can just see them kind of ADHD or enhanced by substances. Anyway, he got on and he was phoning somebody at the top of his voice, saying how he'd just been let out of jail and it was great. He'd been to court and they hadn't actually kept him in. He was really amazed and pleased that he hadn't been kept in. And they'd obviously asked what was it about. Oh, it was a bit of fraud and and breaking into a car. And this was at the top of his voice. Wonderful, loved
On
it.
the bus.
On the bus. Public bus. Everybody else was blank-faced. Perhaps I was blank-faced, but I was just laughing myself to bits inside. And there was another woman. I wear things around my neck, like a lanyard around my neck, with keys on, because I lose them. But she had lanyards, and it was very creative. She had things all over her. She was wearing everything. She had no handbag. She was wearing everything. Key to this, key to that, bus pass, cards. Brilliant.
Yeah, that's it. So you get to meet all sorts of
You do.
rich variety of people.
You do.
I mean, I tend to do that just by sitting in the pub.
Yeah, well, yes, you do. But you'd meet the same people a bit. I meet different people every time.
Yeah, it's but there is that's what fascinates me about people, and sometimes places when you're out and about or able to talk to people, have conversations.
Yeah.
With people, and I can't stand soap operas, but because I think reality is far much more fun, and far more interesting.
It is. If people are happy to talk, and actually with dogs they are.
Yeah.
I have to tell the story of Nutmeg a million times on the way, and dog walkers will always ask me that anyway. And it's interesting. Other people's stories are interesting too about their dogs. And
listen, really good luck to you. We'll be thinking about you all the
thank
time you're there.
Thank you.
Okay, and
yes, anybody listening, don't forget Just Giving Nutmeg Express.
We're going to probably miss a band practice in the middle, aren't we, somewhere?
I might even be missing 2, I'm afraid.
Ooh.
Absent without leave, I know.
Okay,
You'll
have to make sure that
punish me.
We'll punish you. We'll tap up a few other accordion players.
Yeah. Well, you've got a couple of weeks to find some depths.
No, I'm sure it will be fine. It was lovely, and I remember last year coming in to meet you at the hotel in Broadstairs.
Oh yeah, of course we had a sort of reception, didn't we?
Had a little
welcoming committee.
Welcoming thing. Okay, so great. So really good luck.
Thank you.
People, please follow Michela's journey. What's your Facebook? Have you got a Facebook page?
Yeah, Michela Martin George.
Michela Martin George on Facebook.
The one with, there's not too many people called that, but I've got a picture of myself with an accordion. That's the sort of identifying feature.
Okay, so you can follow along Michela's story as she comes all the way down from the borders of Scotland, all the way back to Broadstairs. Organised.
Other way round, Marty. This time.
Oh, you're going.
I'm going. I'm coming back by train.
You're coming back by train.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're doing the other way round. Okay.
Yeah.
So from Broadstairs
to Carlisle.
Wonderful.
I'll probably blog a bit about the lakes as well, because I've always wanted to go to the lakes.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that afterwards, but the main thing is to get to Scotland. It's a mission to get to Scotland. I wish it was John O'Groats, but I can't. I just can't get there.
Yeah. Well, so, it'd be a much longer journey because Scotland's.
I know it's huge, isn't it? It's not until I get the maps out I realise how big it is. And no wonder there's no public buses meandering between the towns.
Yeah.
Because they're too big a space.
Okay, well, thanks, Michela. That's great.
Thank you.